What reactions of Nigerians there on the lessons in the country? Well, you definitely see a lot to say about what life is definitely teaching you. And away from that, the federal government has taken a bold stride in initiating the Nigeria's first policy, a significant economic reform aimed at boosting local industries and reducing reliance on foreign products. Now, this policy came to the light upon the Federal Executive Council approval, which backed by the executive order signed by President Bola Tinubu. Minister of Information and National Orientation Mohammed Idris assures that this freshly charted path places the interests of Nigerians at the center of all business activities to empower local industries and create a sustainable environment for producers and manufacturers. Now, joining us for this conversation is the CEO and founder, Giri Today, Wale Anyotoye. Good morning, Wale. Thanks so much for joining us on the program this morning. It's been a long time we've seen you on the show, and welcome back to Nigeria.
Absolutely.
You believe so much in this country, and the president is saying Nigeria First initiative is something that has come to stay. What's your take on this policy of President Bola Tinubu?
Honestly speaking, it's a great development. There are a lot of other countries right now that are beginning to realize that half the things that you're looking for externally, you actually have it within your own country. And by bringing order to chaos with this kind of initiative that is maiden, there's other initiatives out there as well right now. And the advantage that does is that it harmonizes the small, medium enterprise space within the country. There is a whole lot of revenue that can be generated from there. And when these small businesses owners are given an environment where they can thrive, the next thing that happens is that they start paying taxes as well. You help them register their businesses, you educate them, and then most importantly, you position them in a way where their product has a global acceptance. So with this kind of initiative, what it does is that now we're saying for Africans, this is the right time for us to take the center stage. And there's no better time to do that, especially with innovations around technologies and AIs and the rest of all of that. So running your business becomes as easy as ever.
Do you believe our manufacturing and service sectors are ready for this kind of move?
Are we ever ready? I think it's a baby steps. China didn't get there overnight. It took them years, the years of industrial revolution of China. And for us, I think the most important thing is that we're taking the first conscious step towards that. Are we going to get there overnight? The answer is no. Are we there yet? The answer is no. There's a lot of educations and sanitization that needs to happen, but we're on the right path.
What factors could help us get to there?
Electricity is one. Where there is power, there's opportunity. Absence of power, it makes running a business becomes way more expensive. When you start looking at paying for gas, paying for diesel, petrols, and all of that, that's already borne into your overall cost. And so when power becomes available, running a business becomes easier. Production becomes cheaper because now you are not paying for the cost of diesel or petrol over your own business alone. You are sharing the distribution of power across with the rest of other businesses across the country.
Producing is one thing, Wale, and having quality in what you produce is another aspect I want us to look at this morning. You run Giri Today,
yes.
And how can Nigerians trust what Nigerians are producing?
That's a very valid question. Where I'm based, because I'm based in the US, half the time when you buy things online, 99.9% of the time, what you bought is exactly what you're gonna get. We've seen situations online where you reach out to vendors on Instagram, you make a payment, and then they block you. Or in certain cases, what you pay for is not exactly what you're gonna get. I feel like as Africans, as Nigerians, we ourselves have to take certain responsibilities. It's very easy to say the government this, the government that, but as business owners as well, what level of trust are you building around your production system? Now, for us at Giri Today, part of the things that we've done is that there is any product that is crossing the ocean because we engage in cross-border trade. There is no product that is leaving Nigeria to either UK, US, Canada, Europe, that is not going to be authenticated first. So that authentication is essentially important. As a person of color, where there are rooms, there are places that you're stepping into, they're already looking at you and say, okay, but we just have to make sure that we put extra effort in the quality of the product that we deliver. It's a representation of us to the global stage.
Because there's this fact that some Nigerians will say, what we are producing is substandard. So the president is saying Nigeria First initiative. How can we work on the mentality of Nigerians so that they can even trust Nigerians with their money? Because for you, a lot of people can hack any site at the moment.
Absolutely.
We have locally produced cars in the country. How many of those politicians are using them? People like you, can you also patronize such? So at what point can that young Nigerian watching you believe in what we produce?
A couple of things that I've understood in leadership over time is that people don't do what is expected, they do what is inspected. In absence of quality control, people are just going to do whatever they feel that they want to do, because the mindset of an average business owner is always profit margin. How can I achieve profitability real quick, even in certain instances where it might be at the cost of the quality of the product that you're producing? So while this initiative is great, we also need to set up a quality control where there is certain expectation around the product that you're producing. Because like I said earlier, you are not representing yourself or your business alone. You're representing Nigeria to the global stage. So that is one area that if I'm going to pin down around this policy, that I'll say the policy is great, but the policy itself is not self-sustainable in absence of quality control.
I like how you said the policy is great. What would you say to people who believe that this policy would breed some kind of corruption?
Listen, unfortunately, when similar to like where I come from, like based in the US, when they look at Africa, the first thing they always look is they always say, oh, there's chaos. But I always say, where there's chaos, there's opportunities. You don't look for diamonds in the labs, you look for diamonds in the mud. So the most important thing is that at the end of the day, when you take a look at this, we ourselves have to start believing first. Regardless of how great the policy is, regardless of even the power and the energy are made available, if we ourselves as individuals, as a nation, as citizens of this country, if we don't believe in that, if you're always thinking there is an angle for the government, or there's always going to be corruption, whatever you're looking for, you'll find it, if you look long enough.
Tell us your experience running Giri today, because looking at the name Wale Ayantoye, you're a Nigerian. You've traveled out of this country with wealth of experience. Now, what makes you to believe so much in Nigeria and in Africa?
I mean, listen, Nigeria is home and Africa is home. Africa is the only place that I don't feel I'm black. There is nowhere that I go in the world that, and most people sometimes they make the assumption that how you go in the society that people forget that you're black. No, they're going to remind you that you're black. But Africa is the place where I can actually converse with you in Yoruba. I can converse with you in Pidgin. I feel at home, I feel safe when I'm relating with you. And for me, one of the most important things is that when you look at the global stage today, there is Amazon. Amazon is there, that caters to North America and the rest of the world. Alibaba is there for China. Etsy is there for North America. Africa is the place where we don't have our own centralized marketplace that caters specifically to made in Africa. And most importantly, we have to start this mindset. The fact that it is foreign doesn't mean it's better. The fact that it's made in Italy doesn't mean it's better.
So we need to start having this mental shift for Nigerians.
Yes, we have to. A lot of us are going to spend a lot of money on MS, Louis Vuitton, and Gucci and Ferragamo. But when you meet a seller who is making an Adire in Abeokuta, you want to price it as if you want to price life out of it. The same way you go to these stores without pricing, buy this product without pricing, you're supporting Nigeria.
So how do you protect your platforms that some people will not hijack such platforms? We have hackers everywhere. For me, I will not get my product until you deliver such.
No, absolutely. It's very, very important. We live in the world of technology as of today. The beautiful thing about technology is the fact that if somebody can hack it, somebody can protect it. Okay. It's a game of cat and mouse. I always say why we are spending our entire life every day to build a platform that represents Africa. Some people are spending their entire life to try and break it down. So it is our job not to allow that, because one thing about Africans, we don't have the privilege of getting it wrong twice. There are certain rooms that you're getting into as a person of color. It's one-time opportunity. And that is why for us, making sure that we deliver quality at global stage is not a maybe.
What advice would you give to business owners who want to key into this Nigeria First policy? And this is you speaking as a CEO of Giri today.
Honestly speaking, the world is already made in African products. Like I think the last time I came on the show, I mentioned some statistics. E-commerce in Africa is projected to be about $1.3 trillion by 2032. So there's that growth that is there. So is that how we take the opportunities? And as business owners, a lot of people, by the time you count 5 people within your network, one person has japa. One thing that is true with immigrants is that regardless of wherever they are, we always stick with our culture, our food, our music, our arts, our clothing. So that family member that japa is waiting for the product that you made here on international scale. The question now is, will you deliver quality?
True. I like how you're talking about japa, and you also said that you are based in the US. What this policy now? How do you think it's going to affect globalization and some of our international trade partners?
Now, the last couple of weeks, you've seen the chaotic environment around global trade and the tariffs being introduced across different countries. The world is shifting. It means that if you're coming to the table and you don't have a power play, the world is going to play you by. For example, look at China and US. China is saying, do whatever you want to do, I'm not going to back down. And eventually, US have to come back to the and say, okay, let's have a conversation. I'm ready to postpone the tariff. But African countries does not have that privilege. If US is saying I'm introducing tariff, you can't go to and say, oh, let's have a conversation because I have something to bargain with. This is one of the right steps for us to start bargaining and having this conversation at the big boy table.
Are there challenges you have encountered dealing with Nigerians? Doing your business?
Tell us about your experience, your laughter.
Because all cannot just be rosy.
No, it's not. It's not. It's come down to what you guys mentioned earlier. It's a mindset shift. The moment you hear like, okay, you're buying from a maker in Nigeria and the product is coming cross-border, it's always, oh, I don't trust the quality of the product. Oh, they're going to scam me. Can I trust what is going to be being delivered? So a lot of the effort, honestly speaking, a lot of our effort is not even going into building the platform itself. Most of our effort comes around sanitization of the people. That there's a platform that you can actually get made in Nigeria quality products. For the last couple of years, look at Lagos Fashion Week. The rise of Lagos Fashion Week has rise to a point right now where the world is beginning to pay attention the same way we pay attention to fashion, like Paris Fashion Week, New York Fashion Week. Lagos Fashion Week is right there. And it can only get better from there. So it's not easy, I promise you. I sleep an average of 3 hours a day. I'm not encouraging anybody to do that.
Don't do that.
Okay, who can do that at the moment? That you just sleep for 3 hours? That's not healthy.
It's not. And I'm not going to encourage anybody to do that. But it's also let you know the magnitude of what we're solving for.
I can see your passion. I want to ask, when you first started Give It Today, did you have this level of passion, or you slept and woke up and the Lord put it inside of you?
You know, like I used to live in Nigeria as well, many years ago before I migrated. And most people, when you migrate, is always the new horizon, the new opportunity. But there comes a time where you start saying, okay, I came into this year, I left a job where I was the global vice president, managing 42 countries. I was in a very good space, like I have a very good safety net.
All right.
But left that and say, okay, you know what, it's time for us to build something sustainable, and there are no better people to the African story than
So Nigeria is safe to do business?
100%. We're growing. Well, 100%.
CEO Give It Today, Wale Ayontoye, thanks so much for joining us
Absolutely.
on the
Thank you for
program
having me.
this morning.